just can't stop.
Good morning. I'm Roger Perlmutter, and it is my privilege as chairman of the board of Reed College to welcome you on behalf of the Reed Institute, on behalf of the entire institution, to this, the 2014 commencement exercise. It is, from the standpoint of weather, I have to say, a fairly typical day in Portland, Oregon. But it is such a special day for each and every one of us here. More than 100 years ago, this college was founded with the idea in mind that the intellectual exercise was important, that the application of critical thinking developed through the close reading of texts mattered in the world. Today, the graduates of Reed in 2014 are testimony to the enduring importance of these principles. On behalf of the Reed Institute, I would like first to thank each and every one of you for the diligence, for the effort, for the thoughtfulness and creativity that you've brought to this campus over the last 4 years. You will find it hard to believe that some years from now you'll look back nostalgically to these years. Trust me, you will. But most of all, I would like to thank the families who've come from far away to support their students as they have over the last 4 or more years. And I would like to congratulate the class of 2014 on their magnificent achievements. You're joining a very distinguished body of alumni who have had a profound effect on the world over the last 100 years, as you will have a profound effect going forward. And here to welcome you to the ranks of the alumni is the president of our alumni board, Greg Bajing. Greg?
Thank you, Roger, and welcome, everyone. It's interesting, I'm standing up here and I don't know if I'm here as a good example or a cautionary one. I left Reed and Portland in 1989, eager to get away and head off to graduate school, like so many people. Unfortunately, it took me 2 different schools and several years to discover that what I loved about doing philosophy at Reed, it was not likely to be replicated in a PhD program. And so, also, like not a few others, I migrated to IT. And later on to the Netherlands, where I became a naturalized citizen. I had pretty much no contact at all with Reed for the first 10 years after I graduated, and really no plan to return to the USA until recently. And now here I am living in Portland with a green card and am president of the Alumni Association. And I don't want to say that such an experience is typical, because I don't think there is really such a thing as a typical Reedie, but it's certainly not uncommon. Some of us are lucky enough to discover very early on the one thing we want to do with our lives and spend our lives doing that one thing. For many of us, that just isn't the case. And even if we think we found something, it may turn out differently later on. Reedies often walk a path that is anything but straight and narrow. There's been a lot said recently in the media about education and preparation for employment and so forth. And I would think it's interesting. It's not completely wrong, but so much of it seems to be, in a way, misguided. Already in my generation, the idea of a single career that lasted through your entire life was falling away. And I think that's even more so for your generation. And that makes the whole idea of some specific career preparation kind of a red herring. But for you and for us, I guess, one of the wonderful things that Reed has provided is the ability to perform well no matter what one's path turns out to be. And you've probably heard something like this before. And for those of you who don't already have a plan for the future, or looking for work or something else to do in this current economy, trying to figure out your future, some of that kind of those words may seem a little empty. They are just words. But your fellow Reedies have something more to offer than this, I think. Maybe some of you have even seen or experienced some of this. Reed alumni are willing, even eager to help. Adam Riggs and John Burkholz putting together Working Weekend and all the other people who showed up to help them with that. Don Asher, Tony Fisher, and Michael Tippy, who show up on campus willing to help out students or alumni in planning their future. Mara Zepeda and Sean Lerner from Switchboard, as well as all of those who take part there. All of those who choose to be engaged with the Alumni Association and many others. Indeed, there are thousands of Reed alumni who have joined the Reed Career Network saying, please reach out to us. We are only too happy to hear from you and help you find your way. And I think these aren't just empty words. Working with the Alumni Association in the past few years, I found that one of the things alumni seem to enjoy most is working with students and young alumni. Maybe this is just because it gives us a sense of connection to our own younger selves, but I think that there's something more. For example, I said that I had no contact with Reed, and indeed very little contact with Reedies, for the first 10 years after I left Reed. For various reasons, I felt kind of fed up and eager to break away. And yet, when I came in contact with other Reedies, either my classmates or those from other times, they somehow always pulled me back into Reed's orbit. And no doubt some of this is due to the shared collection of knowledge and experience. But I also think that it is due to the fact that, as troublesome, difficult, and even infuriating as Reedies can be, and I find them still so 25 years after I graduated, I find them in Reedies a sort of spark, a willingness to engage with people and ideas that I find all too infrequently in the world at large. I find that in recent graduates and current students, as well as those Reedies who graduated 50 years ago. So, if you know where you're headed, feel free to get in touch with other Reedies or the Alumni Association, wherever you might be. There's likely to be some sort of event or gathering close to you, and they'd love to welcome you to the Alumni Association. And if you're unsure what comes next, then I would even more strongly urge you to reach out. There are almost certainly other Reedies who have been in, if not exactly the same situation, then something very similar, and are willing to help you try to figure things out, at least give you pointers or some ideas and some direction. We're a resource. Feel free to use us. So to close, let me offer you my heartfelt congratulations on your accomplishment, and note that this is one of the other things that other Reedies very well understand, just what it is that you have accomplished by being here today. And let me be the very first, and certainly not the last, to welcome you to the Reed College Alumni Association and the collection of other Reedies all around the world. Congratulations. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I'm John Kroger. I'm the president of Reed College, and let me be the first to say formally, congratulations to the Reed College class of 2014. What's that? Oh, shoot. I'm being informed that I've already blown the schedule. So, and it's my responsibility to introduce the collegium. So, excuse me and carry on. I always like to make a mistake early in commencement just to put everyone else at ease. Good morning, everybody. This being a Reed College commencement, I wanted to start with a few comments about linguistics. The English language possesses two cognates, thinking and thanking. And this is very similar to German, has the same relationship. Because the two words, thinking and thanking, are intimately linked. Back in our linguistic history, back in Old English, Anglo-Saxon, the sort of primordial Indo-European languages, there was no distinction between the two. There was, in fact, one word that covered both concepts of thinking and thanking, as if the primordial way to think would be to show gratitude, and that when you thought about showing gratitude, it was the main way in which you engaged in thinking, of showing thoughtfulness and a certain amount of appreciation for others. Well, our culture's gone in a different direction, and we really tend to separate things like thinking, which we often believe is cold and analytic and rational, and something like thanking, which is much more about feelings, emotions. And I think that we lose something when we split those two. Reedies are truly great at thinking, and I would love our community to be equally great at thanking. So I want to take a few moments before we go any farther to give us a moment to share a few moments of gratitude. Let's start, if I may, graduates, with all of the family members, loved ones who have helped you get to this point. When you accomplish something in life as epic as graduating from Reed, certainly most of the weight was on your shoulders, but you never would have gotten here without the help of parents, of grandparents, aunts and uncles, step-parents, spouses, partners, friends, loved ones. Today, I think it would be really appropriate if we showed gratitude to all of those who have given us the support we need to be here today. So if I could ask the class of 2014 to rise and face your loved ones and parents, and why don't we give them all a round of applause? I think all of us here, graduates and family alike, owe a debt of gratitude as well to the people who've really made this education possible, who have really given everything they have got to try to produce the next generation of really smart, really thoughtful, highly intellectual, deeply intellectually disciplined Reedies. No one works harder than the Reed College faculty. They're eminent researchers and scholars, but above all, they're very dedicated teachers. And so I might ask my colleagues in the faculty to rise for just a moment so we can thank you for all you've done for this class. Before I introduce our commencement speaker, it's a Reed tradition that the Reed College president dispenses an enormous amount of wisdom in approximately 2 minutes. So I'd love to do that. There are 2 things I really love about Reed. One is the deep commitment to the life of the mind. And the other is the equally deep commitment to the honor principle that governs our lives on campus. So I am very confident that your commitment to the life of the mind will continue wherever. That wasn't a joke. Okay, take a few weeks off from the life of the mind and then get right back to it. But I'm hoping that your commitment to the honor principle will stay just as serious. Your relationship to the honor principle is changing this morning. For your time at Reed, you have probably been thinking about the honor principle more in terms of its negative restriction on your liberty, of things you shouldn't do. And you know, that period is ending. As of now, you're really not subject to the J board any longer. Or for that matter, you're probably really not subject to the alcohol and other drugs panel either. But you still are subject to the honor principle. And I really hope that as you go through your life, you'll think about what that means. Honor is the term Reedies use to describe not just things they shouldn't do, but the commitments and obligations that they feel affirmatively toward their self, toward the world, and toward others. And I have no doubt that you'll live up to those commitments, those obligations. I guess I would say that it is easy for you guys to be smart. You're all very smart, and you've worked incredibly hard, and I have no doubt that you will do great things with your minds. I think the bigger challenge in life is to be equally committed to being kind. And so the last word I'd like to leave with you this morning is that I hope when you think about your obligations to others and the world, you'll not just try to make a positive impact on the world and make it better. You won't just try to live up to your commitments to yourself, but that you will look for those opportunities throughout your life to show kindness, tolerance, and consideration to others. Every day we've got an infinite number of opportunities to do something nice, a kind word, a helping gesture. Some things are really important, some things that seem trivial and yet can make a big difference in someone's day or in someone's life. And so as you think about the life that's ahead of you, I hope you'll work just as hard to be kind as you do to be smart. There are very few people who have lived up to the obligation to others and to the world as much as our commencement speaker, Igor Vamos. Igor is an internationally acclaimed multimedia artist and activist. He graduated in the Reed College class of 1990 and received his Master of Fine Arts from UC San Diego. His thesis, in case you're wondering, was on that eternal question in Western civilization: what is the significance of bathroom graffiti in Portland's bars? For said project, I learned from him this morning that he actually put up removable wall platforms in a huge number of bars around Portland so that he could collect graffiti and then remove it for study. That's a very Reed-like project for those parents out there. Professor Vamos teaches at Rensselaer. He's won the Annenberg and the Guggenheim fellowships. He's famous for high visibility, high social impact, artistic events, performances. All of us have different favorite ones. My favorite happens to be the project known as the Barbie Liberation Organization. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this project, it involved the removal of a large volume of Barbie and G.I. Joe dolls from stores and switching their electronic voice boxes and then returning them to the shelves so that the next generation could receive a group of Barbies that said, "Vengeance is mine." And others could get a G.I. Joe that would say, "Let's go shopping." It gives me great pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, member of the class of 1990, Igor Vamos.
Well, the first thing I have to say is congratulations, class of 2014. Woo! It's such a sad day. Bye. Okay, I didn't want to leave here when I graduated. I liked it so much. I loved it here. And so it is sad in a way to be going out into the world. College was fun, right? The last graduation I went to was at Reed in 1990. In those days, it was common for someone to graduate naked. That year, one of my friends did. His name was Michael. and today he's a rabbi. Things don't always turn out the way you expect. He was, by the way, taking off his clothes, or divesting, in support of divestment from South Africa, which at the time was still a burning issue. But now he's a rabbi, and they do say that we're all naked in the eyes of God, or at least some of us are naked in the eyes of each other. I'm not wearing anything under this gown. I'm hoping that later I can find a respectable job like Michael did. If graduating naked can lead to a career as a rabbi, then certainly giving a commencement address naked can lead to something great. Like maybe I can be a bishop in the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. That's a new aspiration of mine. But I'm going to keep the gown on for the next 15 minutes because I don't want it to distract from the seriousness of what I have to say. I'm very excited right now, and I'm very optimistic for your futures. But before I talk about that, I want to give a shout out to the parents and grandparents here today. Now, I realize that President Kroger already thanked the parents and grandparents, but I'm going to do it in a slightly more colloquial way. Well done, parents and grandparents. I had to have kids myself to realize how hard it is to raise humans. Your kids or grandkids may be graduating today, but they started out as useless, rude, little creatures who didn't care a whit for the ways of civilized men or women. Thank you, parents, for keeping these college graduates alive through those very tough years. It is not easy keeping a human alive, and you guys will not understand that till you do it yourself. Today's graduates, that's you, at an extremely young age, each and every one of you is seriously infantile. You were impossible, but look at you now. So please join me in giving the clap to your parents. Thank you, parents, but now the important part. Why did they bother to keep you alive? I mean, this education isn't cheap, right? They kept you alive because you are the future. And you have a special responsibility. In fact, never has it been so important in history to be the future as it is now for you. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you, the college graduates of today, are entering into a very different world than the one I graduated into in 1991. I'm not just talking about mullets falling out of favor. Your world is literally very different than mine. Upon graduation, your world includes the definitive knowledge that our climate is spinning out of control. A little over 20 years ago, I graduated from Reed. I loved it here. At what other school could an art major get a nuclear reactor operator's license? It was a rigorous education, both in class and out. And that makes sense, because in some ways it can be seen as 10,000 years in the making. This education, the rigor that can be found, represents the culmination of a series of educational philosophies that dates back to the dawn of civilization. Civilization, that precious, highly complex system that emerged in the 10,000 years since the last ice age, the geologic period we call the Holocene. The word Holocene is derived from the Greek words holos, meaning entire, and kainos, meaning recent. For the last 400 generations, we've been taking great advantage of the stable climate and great weather that has characterized this entirely recent period to build our civilization. And in fact, many scientists say that the only reason we have civilization at all is because we had a climate predictable enough to develop agriculture and eventually literature, science, and underwater basket weaving. When I graduated from here in the early 90s, and I did take the underwater basket weaving course as a phys ed requirement, it is, or at least it was, real. When I graduated, I was ultimately the beneficiary of 10,000 years of a stable climate. Unfortunately, I think of myself today as being among the last graduates of the Holocene era, or at least the last clueless graduates who were blissfully unaware of what lay just around the corner and could imagine rebellion as a kind of hobby rather than as a way of life. Fast forward one short generation. There's a new world for the era that we're in. Anthropocene is a combination of the Greek words anthropos, meaning human, and scene, meaning new. This new human-induced geologic period has several disturbing characteristics, the most frightening of which is how our species is affecting the Earth's climate. You are, I think, truly graduates of the Anthropocene, and that, I would argue, makes the whole project of your education an entirely different animal than that of mine only 23 years ago. So I ask you, what is the goal of a great college education in a world going to hell in a handbasket? In the last 40 years, the ocean has become 20% more acidic due to climate change. A majority of scientists who study the subject believe that the ocean's coral reefs will be dead by 2050, just about the time that your kids will be in college, should you choose to reproduce in the relatively near future. I did that. I had kids, and I love them, but I'm scared for their future. A few years ago, I went on vacation to a beautiful beach in Mexico. My oldest daughter was 5. Her name is Ruby. She could swim. She had a little mask. And she saw all kinds of underwater wildlife, including tropical fish and sea turtles, her favorite animal. She was blown away. I found myself loving the trip, but hating the reality. Sorry, kid. These fish, these turtles, they're the last ones. If scientific consensus is right, and I find that it often is, sorry to say, all these creatures you're looking at will be dead when you are an adult. Some scientists are now saying that by the time you're as old as your grandparents, there will be no fish left in the ocean. Sushi will not be the cause. It's ocean acidification brought on by climate change. But despite this incredibly scary news, don't worry, there will be an uplifting part coming. It's standard in these addresses. I do not intend to depart from that if you turn the lights on again. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, but despite all this incredibly scary news, a study of media coverage done by Media Matters showed that one family of tabloid celebrities, the Kardashians, got 40 times more media coverage in the last 2 years than ocean acidification. Right? The oceans are dying and we're looking at the Kardashians. This is insanity. We're not getting the story. The land isn't doing so well either. Since I was born, global warming has added 4% more moisture to the atmosphere, causing a dramatic increase in extreme storms, like Hurricane Irene that flooded where I'm from in the Northeast, and Sandy, which constituted the largest wind field ever measured. The Southeast drought of 2012 represented the driest conditions in 800 years. We've recently had in the Southwest the largest wildfires in recorded history. Climate change is affecting the global food supply. Crop yields of wheat are going down even as the human population continues to grow. And violence, starvation, and disease that come from the upheavals are here. By 2100, several studies have indicated that there will be 1 billion climate refugees on this planet. To say this is very bad only diminishes the gravity of this situation. Graduates of 2012, you truly have to deal with the blowback from the Anthropocene era, the era in which humans leave 10,000 years of climatic stability. With changes like this afoot, what is a graduate to do? What's the next step in life? When I was graduating, a mantra that was often repeated in contexts like this was, do what you love. Reed's most famous dropout, Steve Jobs, promoted that idea religiously. In 2005, he gave the commencement speech at Stanford University. And he said the most important thing that graduates could do was to do what you love. Sorry, Steve, but that idea belongs to the late Holocene. Doing what you love may never have been politically okay in the first place, but it's definitely not right for now, when the Anthropocene period is beginning to destroy everything that makes love possible. Now, what's wrong with do what you love? I mean, I like the sound of it. But do what you love reads as an insult to the vast majority of people globally who have to work shit jobs to get by. It implies privilege. But on a deeper level, the idea that we should do what we love ultimately places self at the center of the universe. But that's over. The era of me must transform into an era of we. Community has to become the outcome of innovation, because we will need community to survive and to thrive. Do what you love is no longer appropriate. When you graduate into this new era, I say, find your best skills and do what you must. I say do what you must because the planet is in your hands. And if we're going to save it, we need to do everything that we can. We need to very quickly change our culture and rewire our economy. This is a revolution. You are a part of it. No sane person loves a revolution if they already live in relative comfort. We may love the idea of it, the principle of it, but the process is usually much more tedious, less glamorous. But today I'm saying screw that comfort. It's over. The house is on fire. We need to act. Do what you must. If we're going to have any love left, we must take back the future of this planet from those that conspire to ruin it. But some good news. There are countless ways to act. A simple step, if you have some money, is to get out of fossil fuels. A lot of people here know how to ride a bike. But if you have a lot more money, you can also divest. Have you read Bill McKibben's Do the Math? In that piece, he observed that right now, the known reserves of the fossil fuel companies constitute more than 5 times the amount that is safe for our planet to burn. If they're allowed to dig it up and to burn it, it is game over for a livable world. But the market, the pyramid scheme that is our civilization's primary engine, is pegged to the value of those reserves. If we stop digging it up and burning it, we face an economic wall. With hard math like that, the oil companies and their lobbyists are compelled to convince everyone to keep on going. Status quo, like so many lemmings over the cliff. And an industry of naysayers is generated, people whose job it is to make us think that we cannot change this system, or that it's not worth it, whatever that means, or that it's futile, or that it will be too expensive. Bullshit! Those same arguments were used over a century ago to validate slavery in the United States. The economy would collapse without it, people said. I'm pretty sure that we made the right choice when we outlawed slavery. Of course, it's worth mentioning that outlawing slavery in the USA did not end the practice. In fact, there are more slaves in the world today than ever in history. And strangely, despite the great value this market machine extracts for us, and despite the dirt cheap, dirty energy the fossil fuels have delivered us for the last 100 years, we now live with more disparity than ever in history. We can clearly see failure everywhere in this oil economy. Cheap energy from fossil fuels has not brought us an era of equity and justice. So why lament its passing? Let's embrace this new reality. The good news for you, class of 2014, is that you have the opportunity to make that new reality. The story is not over. We can change this. This morning, I had breakfast with President Kroger, and over a scone and a cup of coffee, I was very pleased to learn that the Board of Trustees of Reed College has just now decided to divest the school's $500 million endowment from fossil fuels. This is indeed fantastic news. Reed joins 11 other universities who have made this commitment to the planet and to your future. And that includes Stanford, the place where Steve Jobs actually made the announcement about doing what you love. But I'm glad that Reed is doing what it must. And I'm very excited to break this news to the graduating class of 2014, since the world is in your hands. And if you want to break the news to the world, you can use the hashtag #DivestReed. I'm also excited that the tuition-paying parents, who will no doubt be very pleased that your investment in your child's education is not in fact ruining the chance that their grandchildren will have a livable future on Earth. But this is even more exciting. Stanford said they're getting out of coal. Reed is getting out of coal and heavy oil. But what they're doing with the money is what's most interesting. They're pulling the money from those industries and they're reinvesting it in community-owned renewable energy projects. This is a complete program of environmental and social justice while addressing climate change. It literally is putting power back in the hands of the people. It's incredibly inspiring. And this is also a message of opportunity for you, graduates of 2014. As we rewire civilization to run on other kinds of fuels, there is a revolutionary chance to redistribute power, literally. When we pay for our energy that we use every day, we need to stop handing money over to the Koch brothers for their tar sands and their coal mines. And we need to start giving it to decentralize community-owned renewable energy initiatives, preferably ones in your own community. Wouldn't you rather pay yourself for your energy than pay a multinational corporation that can use that money to corrupt your democracy? Class of 2014, look at the massive opportunity to build a better world. Do what you must. You are going to be responsible for nothing short of rewiring our civilization, turning away from fossil fuels, relocalizing, rebuilding, building community. This is a revolution. It's in your hands. This is a revolution to denormalize the status quo, to turn the swords of fossil fuels into the plowshares of renewable energy. Martin Luther King repeatedly said that human salvation was in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. He said that over and over again. As I look around the crowd, I'm pretty sure it was you who he was talking about. But what did he mean? Here's more context. He said, I never intend to adjust myself to segregation and discrimination. I never intend to adjust myself to economic conditions that will take necessities from the many to give luxuries to the few and leave millions of people perishing on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of prosperity. And I call upon you to be maladjusted to these things until the good society is realized. Today, I'm sure Dr. King would call upon you to be maladjusted to the idea that we cannot address climate change, to be maladjusted to the idea that we cannot make a more equitable world, to be maladjusted to the status quo. There's no shortage of opportunity in the transition ahead. If you're thinking about how to get a job after college, don't worry. The revolution is hiring. In the great change ahead, you are needed. There's an unlimited potential for creativity, invention, innovation. There's an unlimited amount of organizing to do, and there's a lot of heavy lifting. As we create a new energy infrastructure, as we create new local economies, new ways to govern ourselves, there is opportunity. Innovation is not just about making shiny new stuff. It's about figuring out new political architecture. You are the ones who can design systems that liberate rather than enslave, that privilege freedom over oppression. When I graduated, my class had to make our way in the world. But you are poised to do nothing less than remake the world itself. Don't let the future happen to you. Make it.
Will the candidates of the Division of the Arts please rise?
Mr. President, I present for the degree Bachelor of Arts the candidates, both present and in absentia, of the small yet mighty Division of the Arts.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty of Reed College, and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon the students of this division the degree of Bachelor of Arts with all the rights and privileges thereunto appertaining.
Corinne Elena Bachot. Anna Helen Baker. Jessica Wong Cami. James Richardson Clark. Eleanor Frances Ford. Benjamin Philip Friars Funkhauser. Eric Andrew Goldman. Laura Hollis Grotenstein. Tracy Lynn Harp. Walker John Holden. Chloe Nicole Kubo. Duncan Michael Law. Catherine Isabel Lawrence. Santiago Bates Leba. Jennifer Ann Lindell. Maria Sakiko Mehta Kepler. Christopher William McKelway. Catherine Dolly Morix. Jonathan Robert Pape. Alexandra S. Park. Deirdre Michelle Quirk. Maxwell Nathan Smith Holmes. Allison Stevens Terrio. Sarah Catherine Tiffany Appleton. Madeline White Villano. Vladimir Vince. Roger Wallace. John Andrew Wilhite.
Please take your time. Please take your time.
Will the graduates please be seated? Will the candidates of the Division of History and Social Sciences please rise?
Mr. President, I present who? For the degree of Bachelor of Arts, the candidates, both present and in absentia, of the Division of History and Social Sciences.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty of Reed College, and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon the students of this division the degree of Bachelor of Arts with all the rights and privileges thereunto appertaining.
Christian Miguel Acuna. Serena Lauren Ahmed. Kelsey Lauren Appleton. Alexandra Arpaia. Christine Marie Atkins. Caroline Blair. Alberta Reed Bleck. Alexander Charles Blum. James Howard Brewer. Ryan Thomas Butcher. Jacob Samet Cantor. Adam Chase Casey. Jonathan Jun Hyung Chai. Bernadette Alexandra Clark. Rachel Nina Clark. Rachel Susan Dalal. Mariana Elizabeth Deutsch. Anjali Charlotte Darna. Ariel Karenina Dooner. Ari Brendan Galper. Benjamin Scott Goggin. Alexandra Jane Hemmings. Alexei Louis Mamugazi Horowitz. Alana Marguerite Hoyman Bro. John Isaac Islin. Martha Janicki. Eric Michael Jennings. Jason Chin. Marina Elizabeth Kaminsky. Aaron Christian King. Shruti Korada. Nicholas Fox Kosheradsky. Thomas Alexander Kaskoris. Tess Lalamont. Sam Outlaw. Sam M. Levin. Luma Thierin. William Finn Lynch. Dieter Machenbach. Alexander James McGuire. Stephanie Jane Moore. Samuel Ponser May. Emma K. McLean Riggs. Jennifer Kimball McNeil. Grace Lauren McCarskey. Cody William Melcher. Aaron Hillel Milberg. Anna Lynn Montgomery. Enrique Fernando Monteguird. Ho Young Moon. Kiara Cleo Packard. Nicholas Antonio Enrique Perez Escolar. William Lee Pertzer. Amina Yasmin Rahman. Colin Maxwell Rosemont. Jeremy Wayne Rucker. Paulina Saba. Hugh Lee Fowler Schlesinger. Shaba Srimoyi Shanmugam. Kasra Che Shokat. Laura Monroe Shumway. Shannon Merle Smith. Wesley Martin Snell. Stuart James Steidel Nix. Gage Elias Swan. Jason Ted Lin Thu. Spencer James Trum. Ian M.H. Walling. Andrew Douglas Watson. Graham Gordon Watt. John B. Whitman. Sunny Yuting Yang. Will the graduates please be seated? Will the candidates of the Division of Literature and Languages please rise?
Mr. President, I present for the degree Bachelor of Arts the candidates, both present and in absentia, of the Division of Literature and Languages.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty of Reed College, and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon the students of this division the degree of Bachelor of Arts, with all the rights and privileges thereunto appertaining.
Gabriel Christopher Andreen. Cade Joseph Anslem. David Alexander Beam. Claire Gray Berkowitz. Linnea Ann Blank. Johanna Rose Burgess. Olivia May Capozzalo. J. Whitney Dale Deber. Madeline Spencer Engelfried. Claire May Gordon. Heather Rose Hambley. Erica Dion Ianiti. Molly Kate Iskin. Scott Joseph Jenkins. Haley Elizabeth Jones. Clarissa Aviva Kerner. Madeline Marie Kinkle. Noah Reed Kittleson. Kriya Mira. I know, I'm just waiting for them to stop. Kriya Mira Krishnabai Gitanjali. Benjamin Daniel Meyerson. Preston Paul Michalizio. Kylie Charlotte Moses. Lucas Hadrian Ovram. Larissa Maria Owechko. Anna Wakefield Plug. Elena Michelle Ransford. Chang Woo So. Micah Curtis Shapiro. Benjamin Henry Quarles Stevens. Jo Elizabeth Stewart. Joseph Anthony Vincent. Kate Althea Weinreich. Benjamin Reed Williams. Will the graduates please be seated? Will the candidates of the Division of Mathematics and Natural Sciences please rise?
Mr. President, I present for the degree of Bachelor of Arts the candidates both present and in absentia of the Division of Mathematics and Natural Sciences.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty of Reed College, and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon the students of this division the degree of Bachelor of Arts, with all the rights and privileges thereunto appertaining.
Hannah Marie Allen. Prakhar Bajpai. Jenny Rose Balmeja. Nisa Malek Bejariklisoy. Brett Timothy Butel. Scott Joseph Brittenstein. James Lee Cahill. Max Lemoyne Carpenter. Allison Layla Nouri Chalker. Christopher James Kogel. Natalie Cowan. Adrian Kathleen Danis. Daniel Sithalamenkat Dashevsky. Max Forrest Del Giudice. Anya Michelle Demko. Sydney Elise Dent. Karen Marie Dewey. Emily Marie Drew. Nathan Alexander Eisenberg. Logan Pendleton Emery. Jennifer Marie Farrell. Lainey Marie Ferguson. Smith Issa Freeman. Emma Jane Firth. Emily Charlotte Rose Gastelum. Alaya Victoria Giglio. Jedediah Burr Grabman. Blake David Hall. Tessa Juliet Hoppenfeld. Austin Wayne Humphrey. Philip Robert Jahelka. Adriana L. Jemison. Matthew Paul Kiesler. Isaac Hansen Cotter. Augustus Mallet Kilgore. Gregory M. Kohler. Tobias Noah. I'll get there. Tobias Noah Koppel. Atsuya Kumano. Thomas Joseph Lamar. Abraham Yoav Leeser. Talia Sophia Levitz. Ellen Rebecca Levkoy. Luke Cameron Lichty. Trevor Daniel Lowry. Miranda Lyons Cohen. Aya Molly Nell McGuire. Aaron Ivor McCrae Goldsmith. Will Scott McKean. Andrew Michael McNutt. Peter Francis McTighe. Allison Christine Morgan. Hui Nguyen. Galen Michael O'Sullivan. Stuart Gordon Pickle. Rachel Lee Pincus. Sarah Yinling Post. Ariana Maria Rimmel. Yotam Reshev. Desmond Warin Getsu. Andrew Joseph Bricker. Patrick Scott Sadill. Hannah Curtin Schaup. Kevin Wolf Schmidt. Erin Michelle Sheffels. Yam Shukla. Shelley Ann Schofield. Molly Jane Spilka. Kimberly Ann Stanton. Veronica Jane Stewart. Ryan Joseph Stroyer. Kathleen Ann Strode. Emmanuel Melissa Tafesu. Ingrid Veronica Tower. Joshua Alexander Urrutia. Nicole Susan Valentine. Eric William Van Bach. Elijah Peregrine Van Wing. Ulagamai Venkat. Christopher David Vital. Catherine Michaela Voorhees. William Nelson Voss. Mark Stephen Wolf. Andrew Joseph Warren. Erin Marie Marion Weisenhorn. Audrey Miller Williams. Sophia Doreen Wright. Yuan Shu. Rachel Gabriella Cherish Yan. Phoebe Allegra Long Young. Will the graduates please be seated? Will the candidates of the Division of Philosophy, Religion, Psychology, and Linguistics please rise?
Mr. President, I present for the degree of Bachelor of Arts the candidates, both present and in absentia, for the division of Philosophy, Religion, Psychology, and Linguistics.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty of Reed College, and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon the students of this division the degree of Bachelor of Arts with all the rights and privileges thereunto appertaining.
Manuel Arturo Abreu. Anna M. L. Aiden. Zain Arif Alatar. Reed Sebastian Arroyo. Brent Lucian Bailey. Abby Laura Benick. Megan Michelle Bradley. Shantanu K. Chatterjee. Allison Elizabeth Chavez. Kirsten J. Collins. Winifred Jean Conrad. Chandler Alexis Corralo. Grace Claire Coville Grennan. Rena Tien Dimes. Chanel Nicole Doucette. Catherine Rose Duffy. Abby Denora Dufresne. Anna Ingrid Fimmel. Mackenzie Ellen Goldberg. Christina Lee Greenmore. Esmeralda Jacqueline Herrera. Lisa Christine Hiura. Jordan James Horowitz. Imani Elizabeth Jackson. Allison Farley Kafka. Samuel John Kennedy. Eleanor Elizabeth Kinney. Molly Kathleen Krumholtz. Isabel Zoe Layton. Samuel Benjamin Liebling Lebo. Catherine Platt Linthicum. Aaron McCarley. Sharon Amanda Massey. Joshua Sloan McCarty. Erica M. Meadow. Stephen Andrew Metzler. Elizabeth Merritt Miles. Julianne Marie Myers. Zuzu Rebecca Myers. Alexander John Nord. Selena Paola Ortiz Hinojosa. Katina Maria Papadakis. Ivan Rivera. Bryce David Roberts. Aaron Michael Solomon. Antonia J. Scarcello. Catherine Rose Shalanka. Dean Carl Schmeltz. James Alexander Shellstad. Gabrielle Ann Slaughter. Mackenzie Lang Sullivan. Sonia Anam Swanson. Anna Case Walden. Louise Webster. Eva Suzanne Weidman. Jeannie Yoon. Will the graduates please be seated? Will the candidates who have completed interdisciplinary majors please rise?
Mr. President, I present for the degree of Bachelor of Arts the candidates, both present and in absentia, who have completed the interdisciplinary majors.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty of Reed College and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon these candidates the degree of Bachelor of Arts with all the rights and privileges thereunto appertaining.
Audrey Augenbraum. Alan Thomas Klein. Jacqueline Marie Davis. Kevin Yoshiaki Gallagher. Allison Beal Giffen. Archit Guha. Erin Michelle Guy. Johannes Meerberg Harkins. Tristan Gregory Hechtel. Dove Catherine Henry. Kelly Martha Hollab. Wei Chi Hu. Maya Isabel Talley Jarrett. Olivia Claire Jensen. Brian Kim. Erin Elizabeth Warren McAllister. Tori Lance Payne. Mia Rose Costin Reback. Alma Victoria Siuluni. Alexandra Marnay Smith. Taylor Rose Stinchcomb. Rebecca Lauren Thurber. Alan Twan. Joanne Wang. Will the graduates please be seated? Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Liberal Studies please rise?
Mr. President, I present for the degree of Masters of Arts in Liberal Studies the candidates both present and in absentia.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty of Reed College and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon these candidates the degree of Master of Arts with all the rights and privileges thereunto appertaining.
Patrick Thomas Arts. Janice Eileen Carpenter. Anthony M. Elmore. May Lori Elizabeth Townsend. Edith Maria Zdunich. Will the graduates please be seated? I now invite your applause for the class of 2014.